This is a HeadGum podcast.
Today's episode of the Black Girl Nerds podcast is brought to you by Treat your scalp well this year and go to My Fluffy Puffs. Go to myfluffypuffs.com and check out their Hydrate collection of products, from their Mango Whip to their shampoo and body bar. If you go to their website now, myfluffypuffs.com, you can use the code HYDRATE10 and save 10% off of your next order. myfluffypuffs.com. Starting next Wednesday, February 1st, our brand new podcast called Misty Knight's Uninformed Afro, featuring Black superheroines like Storm, Misty Knight, Monica Rambeau, and Vixen, and so much more. Featuring yours truly and co-host Stephanie Williams. We're very excited to bring this podcast to you, and this is something that is going to be incredibly informative and also very entertaining. So do us a quick favor. Go on over to iTunes, rate and review the podcast. Black History Month is coming up. And guess what? This podcast is right on time. So if you want to celebrate Black History Month and listen to some really great new podcasts featuring Black podcasters, Misty Knight's Uninformed Afro is just for you. This is a show by Black women talking about Black superheroines. Executive produced by myself, researched and co-hosted by Stephanie Williams, and you can go to MQA Podcast, that's MQUA podcast.com for more information. For a little snippet and preview of the show, take a quick listen, and we will see you next week on iTunes for our very first episode. Welcome to our new podcast, Misty Knight's Uninformed Afro. The new podcast series will dive into the origin stories, character development, and story arcs of our favorite Black superheroines and characters in comics. These are the obscure stories you don't always hear about, and we share commentary on some of our favorite moments in comics. We're going into deep discussions about Storm, Misty Knight, Monica Rambeau, Vixen, Amanda Waller, Riri Williams, Lunella Lafayette, and the Dora Milaje. The series has two hosts, founder and managing editor of BlackGirlNerds.com and host of the BGN podcast, yours truly, Jamie Broadnax. And Stephanie Williams, host of The Lemonade Show. Each episode will reference comic book issues, dates, and creators. That way you can go back and check out the stories for yourself. By the end of the series, you will become a certified expert in the fictional world of Black superheroines. Please subscribe and leave us a review on iTunes. We'd love to hear what you think about the show. See you soon.
Hi, I'm Sujata Day. I'm playing Sarah on Insecure, and you're listening to Black Girl Nerds podcast.
Hi, this is Anika Noni Rose, and you are listening to the Black Girl Nerds podcast.
Hey, everybody, this is Gary Anthony Williams, a.k.a. Uncle Rock. This is the Uncle Rock, and you is listening to the Black Girl Nerds podcast. Why the hell they let black women have a podcast? I will never know.
My name is Ta-Nehisi Coates. I write for The Atlantic, and I am the writer on Black Panther right now, and you are listening to the Black Girl Nerds podcast.
My name's Greg Pak. I'm the writer of Totally Awesome Hulk and Kingsway West. But most importantly, you are listening to the Black Girl Nerds podcast, and it is awesome.
Hi, I'm Joy Bryant, and I'm a Black Girl Nerd, and you are listening to Black Girl Nerds podcast.
My name is Idris Elba, and you are listening to the Black Girl Nerds Podcast.
This is Simone Missick, and I am Misty Knight, and you are listening to the Black Girl Nerds Podcast.
Hey, y'all, this is LeVar Burton, Kunta, Jordy, Reading Rainbow Guy. You are listening to the Black Girl Nerds Podcast. It is the bomb diggity podcast on the interwebs, but you don't have to take my word for it.
5, 6, 7, 8. Holla boys and girls, it's the BGN. Coming from the Marvel world to the DC friends. All the way from Hollywood to the PCN. She defends everyone from sleazy men. Won't apologize for spitting Shonda rhymes. The space that we make is never colonized. We're talking games and movies and actors. Better shake your booties for Black Girl Nerds. Better shake your booties for Black Girl Nerds. Yeah, better shake your booties for Black Girl Nerds. Ha. Better shake your booties for Black Girl Nerds. Better shake your booties for Black Girl Nerds.
Thanks for tuning into episode 101 of the Black Girl Nerds Podcast. My name is Jamie, and I am your host. This episode is titled Benjamin Bratt and our Black History Month Roundtable. 2 segments. Obviously, our first segment is with actor Benjamin Bratt. Benjamin plays in the new Fox TV series called Star, and he talks with us in a very short, sweet, and brief segment with Caron about his role on the new show. And there's a really cool moment in this press conference interview where he hears the name of our outlet and his interest is piqued. In our second segment, we have our Black History Month roundtable discussion. And we talk about a myriad of topics, from the resurgence of the Emmett Till Story to the new edition biopic to the Oscar race that's coming up. That roundtable discussion features myself, Kayla, Caron, Tora, and Joi. So that's our show. Sit back, relax, and enjoy. Thanks so much for tuning in. Please spread the word about Black Girl Nerds and use the hashtag BGN Podcast on Twitter to let everybody know that you're listening, and you can chime in with other listeners on social media. This is episode 101, Benjamin Bratt, and our Black History Month Roundtable. Enjoy! Benjamin Bratt is a TV and film actor, best known for roles in films such as Demolition Man, Traffic, Miss Congeniality, and Doctor Strange. On TV, he's appeared on Law & Order, Private Practice, and Fox's 24 Live Another Day. Currently, you can find him on Fox's new show called Star, developed by Lee Daniels. In Fox's Star, Bratt plays the role of Jahil Rivera, a talent manager down on his luck. Take a listen to this quick segment featuring Caron and Benjamin Bratt as he discusses his role on the new Fox show.
Okay, next question is from the line of Caron Lenore, Black Girl Nerds. Please go ahead.
Hi, Benjamin.
What a great name for an outlet. Black Girl Nerds?
BlackGirlNerds.com, absolutely. And we love you. We followed your career for a very long time. And there's a lot of new talent, a lot of fresh faces in this series. I want to know, will we hear you sing? And what attracted you to this project? And what, if anything, surprised you?
What was the first part of the question?
Are we gonna hear you hit or miss a note or two?
All right, so here's my issue. This is my issue, and the particular bone I have to pick with Lee is that he has put me in a cast almost entirely comprised of people who can not only sing but who can sing professionally. From Brittany and Jude to Ryan, the 3 girls who comprise the trio, to Queen, to Quincy Brown, to Tyrese Gibson, to Lenny Kravitz, they can all sing, they can all blow, and I'm jealous because I can't hold a note. That's the honest to God truth. And I'm hoping I don't know what it's going to take. You know, like what's that computer program where it holds your note in tune?
Auto-tune.
I'm going to take some some auto-tune or what, but I'm hoping he's going to give me a shot, you know, to embarrass myself, because, you know, therein lies the challenge. That's one of the reasons why I took on the show, or at least let me get a dance number.
What surprised you about the young people you had a chance to work with, this group of amazing, talented newcomers?
The self-possession they have. I reflect back on when I first started in the professional world when I was in my early 20s, and I was very green. And these girls had a certain degree of naivete as well, kind of a wide-eyed babes in the woods kind of thing when we first shot the pilot a year ago. But I got to tell you, you compare that to who they are now, and this is even prior to the show premiering tonight. We're now 8 episodes in, and they're like solid veterans. And the reason why is because not only do they put in their 12-hour shooting days, they're then moving on to the dance studio and working on the choreography for the various dance numbers that occur in every episode. And then with whatever spare time they have left, they actually go into the studio to learn and record the songs that they're required to sing. They're a remarkably talented group of girls, and now because of all the hard work that they put in over the last few months, it was a kind of conservatory-like setting that has now steeled them and prepared them for not only the work that they do every week, but for what awaits them in a really public way.
Thanks so much.
The following is a Black History Month roundtable discussion featuring myself, Kayla, Caron, Joi, and Tora. And we talk about some of the events that have happened this past week that have had an impact on Black history, and in both contemporary and historical ways, from the resurgence of the Emmett Till story to the new edition biopic that had happened recently. Biopic, I never know how to say that. And also the Oscar race that is coming up very shortly, featuring a lot of Black nominees. So I hope you enjoyed this one. This was a really fun discussion. And just a quick note, there's a lot of clicking of my keyboard and also clicking of my mouse while this was recorded. I do apologize. I did not know that my mic was picking up all of the ambient noise around me. So going forward, I'll be more diligent in keeping all of that stuff quiet when I'm recording. So I do apologize for that in advance. Thanks for tuning in to the Black Girl Nerds podcast. This is episode 101, and we're doing a roundtable discussion about some various topics, and this is a very important podcast for us because coming up very shortly is Black History Month. So to celebrate that, we're going to talk about things that are very important to us in our culture, in our community, and also some fun hot topics that have happened this past week. So I am here on this fun roundtable with Caron, Joi, Kayla, and Tora. Thank you for being on the podcast tonight.
Thank you so much for having us.
What Caron said in that very sensual, sexy voice.
Yes. That very sultry voice.
Host, y'all.
I can't beat that. Thank you so much for having us. I can't do that.
You should hear me talk to my mortgage broker.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh, wow.
This is going to be a fun one. So let's get started. Let's talk about what's happened this past week on Twitter, right? Twitter's sort of our water cooler of hot topics, and one that's come up, which is sort of on a serious note, is the murder of Emmett Till that happened decades ago. But the reason why everybody's talking about it now is because there was an article that resurfaced on VanityFair.com about the woman that accused Emmett Till of whistling at him. Feel free, anybody, to jump in if you know the woman's name. I don't know her name, nor do I care. But she said that she actually lied about it and recanted her statement. So as it turned out, which most of us suspected this all along, but she admitted that she made the whole thing up. So everyone is talking about it. And as this whole thing unfolded, this is actually a 10-year story, but because Vanity Fair reported on it, people are talking about it on social media. So just wanted to get your thoughts about this whole situation and what were your takeaways from this woman recanting her story.
Her name was Carolyn Bryant. She's been divorced and remarried a couple of times. So I think it's Carolyn Bryant Dunham now. But I think she should be prosecuted to the fullest extent of the law. This is a 10-year-old story, and she's still a free woman. And the story of Emmett Till was one that really changed the trajectory of how we fight for civil rights. Mamie Till, his mother, made the decision to have an open casket funeral so that people could see the result of what happened to her son. And it changed how we view the news. It changed how we view each other. It changed how we treat violations to our civil rights and to Black bodies. And it still has such an incredible impact to this day. I don't think it can be quantified, what the kind of impact and how broad that impact has been. But I think by now she should have been planted 6 feet under that jail. And it hasn't happened. And that speaks volumes to where we are today, especially considering the mango in chief that we have now. So I think it's relevant and it is important that the story is resurfacing at this time. I'm actually glad it's resurfacing at this time because we are seeing over and over again in the news. We have cell phones and cameras now that they didn't have back then. This is a decades-old crime against a human being, against an entire family, against a race of people, against an entire people that has never seen justice. So while it's relevant and it's prudent and it's timely that it's resurfacing, the fact that it has to resurface and there's still no justice is problematic.
I agree with Caron. I also think that in light of the conversations we are having around intersectionality within feminism, I think it's also interesting the way that conversations around this are, because I see people painting her still as like they're seeing forgiveness, or they're seeing her feeling guilty where I'm not seeing that. Like they're still protecting this white woman. They're seeing fragility in her that where there shouldn't be. Like I'm seeing someone who ruined the life or, caused the death of a child and still couldn't.
He was a child.
Yeah, he was a child and still couldn't, through all this time, couldn't bring herself to apologize to anyone publicly, to his family. And yet in this article, in the conversations around it, I'm seeing people give her just write her as this almost saint. Not saint, but because I don't know if it's because she's old. I don't know what it is, but I don't feel the anger coming out of this essay. One of the phrases that they used, that the person who wrote the article or the book about it said that she said something to the effect of she felt tender sorrow, but that's still not like an admission of guilt or anything like that. It was just, so you're going to say you sorry? Are you going to say, are you going to talk about what you did to the Black community, what you did to this family? And I think she should come forward. they said that her family's hiding her and all of that. They're still complicit in, saving her. And I'm tired.
I think it's a funny thing with white guilt, because white guilt means that they want your sympathy for acknowledging that they did wrong, or just kind of with everything that we've been dealing with since the election. It's just funny. Now that we are however many days into hell, and we've got how many executive orders that are ridiculous, there's a lot of vote against Hillary people with white guilt. And that's what I got from that article. That's why it just kind of pissed me off. I really couldn't comment on it today because there's really no amount of words that can describe the stories you had to hear growing up, learning things during Black History Month, especially when you are Black, especially with, the church bombing in Birmingham, Emmett Till, learning all that stuff. It sticks with you. I still to this day cannot sit through 4 Little Girls. I lose it every time and I won't watch it. So the story, it just brought up a lot of anger in me. And the fact that nobody is holding her accountable, like Tora said. They are hiding her to save her because she just feels so much guilt for whatever reason, because she lied. And it doesn't shock me that she lied, because that was the world that it was, where they didn't care how it affected our lives. It's still to this day, they don't care how it affects our lives until it affects them. So I don't, with the story coming back up, I don't know. It made me feel uncomfortable because it's giving a face to it, but we're not in a place where no one's going to do anything about it. Like Caron said, it's a 10-year-old story. So
yeah, she's 82 now, and she's been able to live to the age of 82.
82. So are you kidding? So that's the stories that are picked and chosen to be told, and when they are told from the stance of the people that were the guilty party, I don't know. I'm still trying to understand why it did come back up.
Because Vanity Fair wrote an article about it.
Yeah, so I and it's kind of like a hot take thing. So now it's the thing that everybody's talking about, and that's the thing about these hot takes these days. It's either going to do some good or it's going to bring up a lot of bad, and it brought up a lot of bad for me today. So, I mean, that's one thing with that whole journalism and integrity. Thinking about where we are right now in America with what we're dealing with, probably wasn't best to run the damn story, but they did. So I don't know what they were trying to achieve by running it, but like I said, they're going to keep running hot takes like that right before Black History Month. Okay.
So I would like to add that I think, if I remember correctly from reading the article, the reason why they brought the article up is that it's being done from a lens of someone who's writing a book about the full Emmett Till story that's coming out next week. So the story of, and I think, Caron, you mentioned the name, but I'm not going to say her name because, quite frankly, fuck her. But
that white woman.
That white woman. Fuck that white lady. You heard it here first.
I love you, Joy.
That was my first thought when I read this. I was like, oh, fuck that white lady and her whole lineage. She's terrible. But no, they are writing a book about it, and it's coming out next week. And I'm curious about reading the book in general, but the person who did the investigation is a senior researcher at a university. That's why it kind of came back up this week, if you will. One thing, and I think you guys hit it all on the head, but I'm going to specifically focus on what Tora said about feminism and intersectional feminism, because we're talking about women's marches and you know, a lot of the photos and who was being highlighted are white women, we oftentimes forget that every situation or every human right is a woman's right, because it is women are in the center of it all. So when you're talking about Black boys, no matter what year it is, getting killed unnecessarily, Black girls too as well, getting killed unnecessarily just because of how they look, that's a women's issue. And so when you have a white woman who, and to Kayla's point, going through white guilt, and she's talking about how much immense sorrow she has. I keep thinking back about, saw a tweet today saying that Anne Frank would have been 77 living in Boston if the U.S. didn't deny her visa when she was trying to run from Nazi Germany, and how hidden this white woman was from the public eye to shelter her because she's so fragile and needs to be protected, where actual people need to be protected from actual bad, you know, wolves in the world, and we deny them. It's extremely backwards. It makes no sense, quite frankly. And the fact that she's coming out now, or 10 years ago, because I didn't know the story cracked 10 years ago, and trying to put a face to her, she might as well just stayed hidden and died, because she's 88. It's about that time anyway. So she might as well just stayed hidden at this point, quite frankly. Like, I have no sympathy for white moderates anymore. You are straddling the line, white liberals too, obviously, but you're straddling the line. You're saying that you're your allies, but you're not really our allies, and you feel bad after the fact, but you're not actually making physical amends. That Emmett Till's mother died with her child physically look like not recognizable. If you've ever seen the pictures of the Emmett Till funeral, if you have the stomach for it, go take a look, because it is extremely horrifying. It looks like it's straight out of a horror movie, how dismembered and ridiculously off-putting his face was when he got attacked because she lied. And I think we all knew that it was a lie that kid got killed in the first place. Like, you don't need to know the absolute, like, details of the Emmett Till story and not know that 9 times out of 10 it's a lie. It's as an ISSA lie. It's a lie. So you can guess that it's probably that's what the case was. But for her to come out, because again, she's still safe in America, she got to live the full breadth of her life to a certain extent. She's had children
in comfort.
In comfort. She's gotten married twice. She has kids. Her kids probably have kids. She probably has grandkids, and they live this comfortable life. And so I keep thinking of white people who talk about, oh, I don't benefit for racism. Well, your grandmama might have been somebody that got a Black person killed back in the 30s or 40s. You don't know. Anybody, if you are in a space of privilege, you benefit from that privilege. Period. The end. This is a textbook definition of this one. This is a very cut and dry, that she literally cried wolf. That baby got killed. This kid was underage, mind you, got killed for no apparent reason. And because now she feels safe and comfortable enough to tell this story, which I don't know why she thought that, like, as if Twitter ain't popping in 2017, but whatever. Because she decided to tell this story, she's not, no repercussions come for this. Yeah, we gave her first and last name, but she's probably still in the comfort of her own safe home somewhere in wherever Fucksville, USA, and she's okay. And she got to live her life and prosper to a certain degree. And that is absolutely ridiculous. And I don't feel sympathy for her. I am now at the space, I'm absolutely on my Ivan Drago tip, like with anybody who is living off of white guilt but benefits from privilege and doesn't check it. If you die, you die. Like, I don't know what to tell you. That's where you're at right now. Like, that it is what it is. But it's absolutely ridiculous that this is where we're at. So I'm looking forward to reading the book when it comes out. I will kind of take a look and investigate. I might do a review on it. I'm kind of curious to see what the full breadth of the story is. But man, yeah, no, fuck that white lady.
I think it's also interesting how she is painted as innocent, again, even in this story. You don't know that she was also kind of complicit in his death. Like, you read that because of her, Emmett Till died, but you don't really read that after the initial incident, even in the story she told, she runs to get a gun. So she, even in her initial story that she told, she's so offended by being, looked at by this young Black child, she feels like she can threaten his life. So I don't have it. I don't have 1 ounce of sympathy for this old spoiled Mayo lady. So I can't. I would. She's either going to come forward and say, you know, I actually am sorry, and what can I do to, you know, make amends? Or obviously there's no way to make amends, but what can I do to show that I'm sorry? Or she can die quietly.
I will just echo everybody's sentiments that I have absolutely no sympathy for this woman. She can say it 1,000 times, I am sorry, and it won't mean a thing. There's a special place in hell for her. I feel like if she feels the need to recant this story and she wants to be of service to the Black community, then she should do that. But she's always going to live with the fact, knowing that she is responsible for the death of a 14-year-old child. A 14-year-old child who was beaten, mutilated, shot, and killed, and his body was sunk in the river.
Yeah, he was dragged and drowned, yeah.
Dragged and drowned. Knowing all of that in your mind as a woman that is responsible for this tragic series of events, I just hope she realizes that she's responsible for that and she knows that she's going to deal with the consequences of her actions, whatever that may be, after she leaves this earth. So I again agree with all your sentiments, and I think that whatever is going to come out of this story, I really don't care about her perspective. I'm more interested in the families and the legacy of Emmett Till, and just finding more about all of the things that have happened as a result of his story being told, and also the civil rights movement that actually evolved as a result of what had happened after Emmett Till's murder. Yeah.
And you know, Emmett Till was 14 at the time of his death, and his mother, Mamie Till Mobley, passed away in 2003, still fighting. But the old adage goes, those who don't know their history are destined and doomed to repeat it. And like I said earlier, we're seeing it over and over again, the Black bodies, young Black bodies being struck down for nothing, you know, even in this day. And it's horrible and it's tragic. And this is about to be the blackest year ever, because people are exhausted from death, exhausted from mourning, exhausted from not seeing justice. This is a powder keg. Even to this day, it's a powder keg.
So then let's move on to something a little bit more lighter, which is this past week. We got a chance to bask in the nostalgia of it all with New Edition. New Edition premiered on BET this week, which was a lot of fun because they had a 3-night event, and I live tweeted along with everybody else and used the really cool, fun hashtag #CanYouStandTheT on New Edition BET hashtag as well. So let's talk about it. It was fun. It was great. I'm going to start on this one because it just, for me, like the nostalgia shows, nostalgia tweets, you know, it's something that I've always loved, and it's part of what I helped, you know, build with Black Girl Nerds between the Gem Live tweets and the 80s Live tweets and 90s Live tweets and stuff. So when it was brought to my attention that New Edition was going to be doing a TV movie, I was like, yeah, I got to get in on this. And I just really enjoyed it, from the songs to the performances by all of the actors and the story. It was just great. I honestly came in with some pretty low expectations. I'm going to be honest with you. It was a BET production, so I'm thinking, okay, it's probably not going to be as good as I hoped. But no, it really exceeded everything that I expected and so much more. So I'm happy about it. My only criticism was the fact that it broke into commercial like every freaking 5 seconds.
Oh my God.
BET, you got to do better with those ads. Somebody was telling me that, not enough people watch BET programming and they need to get the support to be able to afford to run programming on their network. Well, if you run better programs on your network, then more people would watch. But even so, like, you got to cut down on those ads. But overall, I thought it was great. And, yeah, it was phenomenal television. And watching and listening to all of the songs, man. And the fact that they actually played out some of the songs, like, in its entirety, like Can You Stand the Rain? That one is one of my favorite. Yep.
Yes.
Can You Stand the Rain is, like, actually one of my favorite New Edition songs. So when they played that in the studio, and I was just like, and Luke James starting off the Johnny Gill solo at the beginning, I was like, little tear came to my eye. So it was amazing. So yeah, guys, feel free to jump in. What did you think about the New Edition series?
When they played And I'm Leaving You Again, and I thought I'd tell you when, I know how this must feel. But if your love is real, try to understand that I'm in popular demand. That was such a part of my life because that was the song that I used to play for my boyfriends when I broke up with them.
Why are you expecting this, Caron? I think you've had this conversation before.
Back in the day, all we had was a boombox with a double tape deck if you were lucky. If you didn't have a double tape deck, you had your the rectangular tape recorder with the red button, and you had to press the record and the play button at the same time. And you would record and make your mixtapes that way from the radio by putting it up to the speaker. Now, see, I grew up with these fellas. So it was like, they were ours. They were our boys. They were our boys to men. You know what I'm saying? And all of them loved me, and I love them equally. I did not show favoritism to any of them in particular. But this was not just nostalgic for me. This was such a beautiful part of my coming of age that was done so well. I felt like they had patience with it. They took their time with it. They did not rush through the story. I think the way they set it up, as a 6-hour biopic instead of just a 2-hour movie, I thought that was brilliant. Those commercials, honey. Whew.
Well, that's why it was 6 hours, because the commercials.
It
was like 4 hours of commercials and 2 hours of actual story going on.
See that great value, Misty Knight, one more time.
Okay, I didn't understand why are people comparing Rage to Misty Knight? I didn't understand the correlation there.
The Afro Puff.
Yeah, I'm confused.
It's like the same outfits, and that's why I felt like
she was wearing a lot of red. She definitely was wearing.
But that's it, though. There's no bionic arm. I didn't get that. Okay, continue.
But
I just didn't get the correlation. But go on.
I didn't either. But I saw those comparisons being made too. I'm like, do you know your history? But I thought the casting was brilliant. It was brilliant. Every last one of those guys could stand on their own. And Ron, as much as I love him, he was never that fine. But
don't go there now. Ronnie was my favorite one. I had a huge crush on Ronnie DeVoe. Okay,
Ronnie DeVoe. He was the tallest. He was.
People was coming at me on Twitter though.
Anchor, it was true. He was the one that was consistent all the way through. But I love those guys. I've loved their music from the beginning. They were the first group that I technically became, a traveling fan of, because my next door neighbor's sister was of age and my sister and I weren't. But we were allowed to travel with her up and down the Eastern Seaboard to see the same concert over and over in different cities. Yes, we did. So that's how I became a musical tourist. New Edition did that for me. And I still love them now. I mean, I thought, I when Johnny Gill was added to the group, I had some questions because Johnny Gill had his career in his own right. And it was like he was positioned completely differently than New Edition, had ever. The two worlds never met. But he was a great addition to the group, and they've continued. And to this day, they're still touring, they're still hitting it, and they still fine. And I love them so. Oh God, I love them so much. I didn't know about Ralph and the karate though when he was little. I didn't know that.
That was funny.
That was funny. Yeah.
So a couple of things. One, I was the one who did the Nehu. I want people to, when they listen to this, like, I want to get my credit. That was me. Okay, so I just want people to get my credit when they hear, like, oh, who is that? Just at me. It was me. Jesus. But so I see you with these notes. So I grew up on New Edition, but not in a way on normal people. I'm obviously one of the babies of BGN, so I'm a little bit young. But my dad loves New Edition, absolutely loves New Edition. He took him and my mom to one of their reunion shows. I don't know how many of them were there, but I think it was like 1.5 years, 2 years ago. And he really enjoys it. So I grew up listening to New Edition. Overall, because I can't speak on the nostalgia aspect, but overall, that was very quality production. When they did that little Animorphs thing with the little kids,
that was brilliant.
I know.
That was so good. I see you BT blowing out your budget.
Yep.
That's why they couldn't afford good wigs.
That's why they had all them damn ads. All them damn commercials.
All them commercials. They were like, well, we want to do this one scene. We need all the money.
We need at least 8 commercials to do this one scene.
Supplement.
That was such a good transition. That was so good.
And the struggle. Can we call somebody from Atlanta just to come for these movies to do a good wig? I've seen amazing.
Why can't they get the wigs right when they do these shows? I don't understand.
Jamie, you know how I feel.
That's why they were coming for me on Twitter when I was going after the actor that played Ronnie, because I thought they made Ronnie unattractive in this.
Yeah,
one.
no, well, I mean,
and people were coming after me.
First of all, Ronnie in real life, because every time they did a close-up face of Keith Powers, who plays Ronnie in
Keith Powers, yeah.
I was like, why does his eyebrows look weird? And then I looked at a picture of Ronnie up close. I was like, oh, he don't really got eyebrows. That's why.
Yep. Right.
Like bleached or like flowered, I don't know, put makeup over his eyebrows. I was like, he looks so odd right now without eyebrows. But those wigs were rough.
Yes.
It's very difficult to replicate a Jerry curl. It is very difficult to replicate.
It's not though.
Even a Jerry curl, because they had Tank out here looking like Steve Hightower, the Steve Harvey Show. With that hat helmet,
those Jerry curls in the movie Coming to America in the 80s was on point. They can make some good Jerry curls.
It was low definition too.
Faison Love has been bald for years. Who decided to put a wig on Faison?
Oh my God.
But he's been wearing bad wigs for years, so
that's true. Yeah, that is true. So that was
that was probably from his own collection.
So this has been the second time that BET has said, we got y'all, in like recent years, and they've been like completely honest. Like, I think the first time was they said the Prince tribute, and they fucking had us. And with this, they said, oh, we gonna get y'all. Like, we gonna get y'all all the way together. And they did.
They did it.
And I appreciate it. And if I had to sit through them commercials in order for you to pay for this, because they still made y'all pay for the rights to the songs, then I guess I had to deal with it. Like,
BET is like the Theo Huxtable of television. Like, he gonna fuck up for the first 20 years, but he got it in him, and then one day it comes to fruition.
At least he's not at least they're not the Lisa and didn't hook us up with a Gordon Gartrell.
I'm hoping, because Kayla, you had sent me that tweet that Latavia had put out. I hope that Destiny's Child is next, man. Because they watched.
Oh my God, Caron! Remember when I told you?
What'd you tell me?
About Latavia and the T-shirt.
Yes. Who wants to be Latavia? Nobody.
But she said in her tweet, she was just
the
like
Latavia of the group t-shirts.
Oh Lord.
She said in her tweet that this was her life.
I'll play Latavia.
Yeah, I mean,
wait, but like, wouldn't that mean like I'm the replaceable member of the group? Isn't that what that T-shirt would mean?
Aww.
Yeah.
I liked Latavia. The shade is real.
I'd like to talk about BET for a second. I think BET set themselves up really good this year because even in the commercials, there was a couple of shows that I was interested in that I might like sit and watch. I think BET is recognizing that, quite frankly, in Trump's America, we don't have a lot of media news and like entertainment outlets that we can really rely on.
Right.
And I think, and it sounds crazy, but I think with the New Edition biopic, I think they set themselves up to get people on their side in terms of trusting. If they continue the trend, I really do think that they can bounce back and kind of get that public opinion back on their side.
Yeah.
Be a place where they can bring back Teen Summit. They can bring back a lot of these like BET News type related things that could actually be beneficial and be a reliable source for us when it comes to getting our news that's not biased. And
well,
I think
Mark Lamont Hill has BET News as a part of his moniker now. So I'm curious to see what that manifests into because it's got to lead to something.
I'd rather not. Well, I've been VH1 reality, like a VH1, not reality, but VH1 like casual talk show. So I don't know how that matches, but whatever.
Well, I've been watching Ascot Jones on TV One. You know Ascot Jones?
No.
Oh. From Scooby-Doo.
Roland Martin. I've been watching him on TV One for my news, and they actually put a really good morning program each morning.
I should be on it, but yeah, they do.
Yeah, so
there's some college show that's coming out that looks really interesting.
Well, the Quad, and what they did at Clark Atlanta earlier this week, they actually gave them they did like a whole promotional thing where they were giving away like back to school packs where they had like tampons and snacks and school supplies, and I was like, BET's marketing the hell out of this, even though I probably won't watch it because I can't stand the little girl that plays Anika Noni Rose's daughter.
That voice gives me convulsions.
You know where she's from, right? She was the daughter that got rejected from My Wife and Kids. That they changed her light skin. Yeah, that's the daughter.
That's the brown skin girl that got replaced by the light skinned girl.
Yeah, they did the Aunt Vivian thing to her too.
Claire.
I couldn't stand her because of her voice. But I don't know how I'm gonna do with her on this either, but I'm gonna give it a try because it's Anika and we love Anika. So
her voice didn't change in puberty. Oh
no,
girl! If it did, this whole vocal fry thing she's doing is not working. She's like my parents and I can't do it. I cannot do it.
You can't do vocal fry.
I went to this school because my mother chose it. It's like, girl, come on. You from the east side. I can't with you.
Pete, when she did that in the commercial, she had a white roommate. I was like, this is extreme like visuals. Like, okay, I see what y'all are doing with this. I see.
Yeah.
From what I know, it's with them rebuilt, like this premise of the show, it's about like rebuilding HBCU, which is kind of from what I hear, is a shot at Morris Brown with them trying to rebuild themselves, and I don't know how that's going to go over.
I thought Morris Brown went bankrupt. They didn't?
Ooh. They did, but they're like you're trying to group money to actually like get back going.
If they're using whatever money that they make from the great ratings, I'll tune in for that, because the only time I ever heard about Morris Brown was that Big Boy song named Morris Brown. That's the only time I ever really hear about Morris Brown. And so when they went bankrupt, I was like, well, damn. But no, if they needed to help get funding, I'm all about it. I will turn on my TV. I might not watch it, but I'll turn it on.
Oh my God, Joy.
Oh my goodness, Joy. I can't.
2017, y'all better be ready.
I'll cast it in another room. Does it count still? Like,
No, I couldn't like the quad. Maybe it's just me. It's just like I was not interested in it. I was interested in Rebel though. I will say that. Like, when I saw,
Rebel looked more interesting to me.
To me, Rebel looked more interesting. And then I saw a Method Man biting on somebody's ear, and I was like, "What's going on right now?"
That was Method Man.
Yes, that was some drama in Quad, and then I love some drama, so I might tune in for some dramas.
Yeah, no, if I had to pick one of the two, I personally pick Rebel. Like, I think I'd be interested in it. And any black woman that's beating up cops, sign me up. I'm in.
Thank you.
I'm automatically gonna sign up.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm signing up for that too. But there was like this one scene where like this black lady in a suit was getting some black guy told in her office, and I was like, yeah, I'm here for this. I don't know. I'll watch it. I think
Tora, it sounds like you're gonna turn on your TV and walk away or something.
I just like black women in power suits, just like stomping around campus.
How did everybody feel about seeing Jamie's friend in the New Edition recap, though?
Who's Jamie's friend?
Who?
Mr. Rappaport.
Oh.
Listen, he tweeted me?
I was disgusted in every scene that he was in, man. I was just like, why? Why are black people employing this man at every turn?
And black people have always employed this man.
For years, man.
How is he getting paid to just like be himself?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
So just stand here and say words I would say. Okay, all right. Like that's.
Well, I'm surprised they didn't have him being, like acting black type character like he's always been.
That's normally what he does.
Yeah.
I mean, he technically was trying to. He was eating them mama's greens, and then told him that he don't got no money. That is disrespect in the highest order. But no, he tweeted at me. I tweeted like, "Why did y'all cast Michael Rappaport?" I did not add him. I just tweeted that, and I was like, "No, this is unacceptable because I just don't see it for him in general." And then he's gonna tweet me back. I go to bed after New Edition biopic because I work. Wake up in the morning, and he writes, "So turn it off." And I'm like, but kind sir, I did not add you,
girl. Don't you know he searches his name on Twitter? You didn't know that?
Yes.
He searches his name on Twitter.
I
He's
don't
that guy.
be paying attention to these vanilla men, Jamie. I just be minding my business.
He's one of those people that searches his name on Twitter and will at every person that says anything negative about him.
Got it. Good to know. Well, he
so
got
petty.
And I was just like, why are you? Because I know he's very like, oh. Also, just a side note, and this goes back to why we need more black girl nerds and the like in our media sphere, because I like to see what the landscape is in the market. Like, I'm a marketer, so that's just like my natural inclination. So I look at other nerd sites and see what they're doing in terms of their video content and stuff like that. So sometimes I watch the Collider Heroes YouTube show, which gets a lot of love apparently. And he's sometimes a guest on there, and I'm like, why? He knows nothing about the content. And he'll say, I know nothing about the content. So then why are you here?
Probably because they asked him and he said yes.
Right. I'm like, but why do y'all have a rapport? Funny enough, pun intended, why do you have a rapport with him? For what?
A rapport.
I'm so done with you, Joy.
Why do you have a rapport with him?
Joy of the Island.
I feel like that's the word for what he tries to do. Like when he tries to slip ebonics into conversations with black people, he's trying to have a rapport.
I'm pretty certain if I offered him to come on our podcast, he would say yes. Or to be on our channel, he would say yes.
Does, like, please let me on. Please, I might behave. I don't want
to.
We're the four
right now. I will not behave.
I don't.
I would be so good.
I'll adopt like the worst.
Well, he wanted me to be on his podcast, and he kept atting me like every 5 seconds, and I said no, and he kept asking me. I'm like, leave me alone. Like, no.
Yeah. Only if you let me like break out into like random old Negro spirituals. Whenever he pisses me off, just like start humming.
I don't think y'all understand. She absolutely would do that.
Y'all don't get it. She really would.
She really would.
Just like whenever he says something obnoxious, just like start humming, so he knows it's a warning.
You know what?
Oh God.
Y'all, for real though, test that out on your white coworkers whenever they start testing you. Just like start humming "Swing Low, Sweet Chariot" or "Nearer, My God to Thee."
Do it start tab first, dog.
Watch them back away real quickly.
But do white people really know Negro spirituals? Like, do they actually
They know scary black.
They know wade in the water. All they gotta hear is those first few notes.
They will after the Get Out comes out. when Get Out comes out, they'll know what they mean.
Just like close your eyes and ball up your fist and start humming.
The earthly house. It's going to soon decay.
So let's bring it.
Jesus on the main line and start.
Oh my gosh! Let's bring it back. Let's bring it back. New edition.
Okay.
Question about New Edition. So, there was a part, because I got to dial it back, y'all. Otherwise, we'll go into Nowheresville. So there was a scene with a $1.87 check. And I was just curious to know, what did you think about the fact that their moms didn't get paid like a lick of anything, or that they signed a contract knowing nothing about the terms?
I think that in general, people are still got like that in 2017 now. Black artists.
It was typical of that time. It really was very typical of that time, from the 60s, from payola on up. It was very typical, and at that time, New Edition was the only, group we had. We didn't have any other real groups, back then when New Edition hit the scene. The last group we'd had prior to them was the Jackson 5, probably. That wasn't a trio, you know what I mean? That was the actual, boy band, but it was really typical of that time for them not to get paid. Same thing happened with LaFace and their artists. TLC and their independent artists as well. That happened in the 80s and the 90s as well. It was very, very typical for them not to read their contracts, to accept advances if they got them, and to end up in debt after touring for a year. And in New Edition's case, they had been on tour for 6 years when they got that check.
I wouldn't be surprised if Diddy was doing that too. Like, and he was the 90s and 2000s.
What? You know he was.
Oh yeah.
Listen,
have you seen Sarah from the band? She is destitute.
Babs is still in Brooklyn, y'all. Like, I have friends. Like, Day 26, I've seen some of them on Instagram, and I'm like, yeah, they don't look like you guys got money no more. So I think it's happening. It happens in 2017. So when you look at artists like a Chance the Rapper, who is so adamant about, I'm not signing to a label, and people are asking like, why? It's like, well, now we have new iterations of that. For now, in 2017, it's the 360 deal. For now, like, it's starkly different in terms of the formatting and how it's broken down. But I would not absolutely be surprised if that same situation would happen to pick your generic artist in 2017. Like, this was of the time, but I do think it's an overall thing about, and it sounds crazy because there were black people that worked in these labels, and there were black people that worked at TLC's label. Something about taking advantage of specifically black artists and black groups, it absolutely rubs me the wrong way. And I think this is where Mr. Rappaport got hired correctly, when he was pretty much threatening them that he was going to take them back to the hood. Something about that really rubbed me the wrong way, because you're getting these talented but destitute kids who do not have money but are extremely gifted and talented, and they have a God-given gift, and you take them out of the hood, and how you keep them and quote-unquote wrangle them in line and make them professional is to threaten them to go back to the hood. Something about that just don't feel right. It feels helpful to me, and I don't like it. So seeing them have that $1.87, and they were like, yo, we're going to send your asses right back to the hood of Boston, is absolutely ridiculous. Them kids were minors. Like, the dudes that were playing them, they look a little, they're a little older up in age, but they were definitely minors when they were getting them threats. They were 18, 19, 17. Right. Like, they were underage, don't know anything about the legal system. Their mama doesn't know anything about the legal system. Nobody thought about reminding them or suggesting, hey, you might want to get a lawyer. And then when you have like personal and mental issues, like Bobby Brown being on all of the drugs, like nobody suggested
And Ricky Bell, that was a shocker.
That's a shock. I did not know that.
Oh, girl, everybody knew about Ricky.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know about most of this,
back then,
to be honest.
Back then, that was there was lots of talk about Ricky.
On my TL, everybody was like, Ricky? Really? Like, everybody had questions about that scene. Because
Ricky was staying low. Like, all Ricky did was stay low and build. All he was doing was just trying to stack up these checks, live his life.
Right.
It was real low key, but if you were involved in the music scene back then, you knew about Ricky.
Well, I wasn't in the music scene.
That was everything, honey.
But yeah, like even with Bobby Brown and Ricky, people who have actual mental and physical health issues because they are going through and battling addiction. Mm-hmm. No, the first thing is we gotta kick him out the group. Nobody suggested him taking him to rehab. Nobody suggested taking him to therapy. Nobody did any of these suggestions.
It was about that bottom line.
Yeah, it's all about that bottom line. So I couldn't help but notice and see that those parallels between that and like the TLC story and terms of these black kids who have this talent but are young and inexperienced and their parents are working jobs, so they're not there all the time because they also got to pay bills and they also got other siblings and whatnot. And it was just it was hard to watch, like to see $1.87. Like that is wild. Like you can find $1.87 on the street right now. Like that's how much they were making, and they toured and left their home and their families for an X amount of time just to make that money is absolutely ridiculous.
I think when it comes to child stars, it's they know what they're getting away with now. In like the instances with Diddy and Bad Boy and all the bands that they've tried to put together, those are grown ass people. So there should have been hindsight as to this might not work out. Don't put all my eggs in one basket. But like Joy said, these are kids and they're looking for a way out. The moms want to give them the way out. Now, I know we were all joking, over the past few days saying where the mom is at while they're having orgies in rooms. But, I mean, they didn't have someone there. That's why it was really important. And I'm glad that this story was told mostly from the perspective of Brooke as the adult that wants to actually look out for them. Because he, like, watching it is like he really did try to just be that voice of reason for them, even though they didn't take his advice. So that was kind of hard to see too, because that's a lot of that in the music industry is just not taking the advice of somebody that might know what they're talking about and just being dismissed.
That's true, and I don't know if you missed it, but Rappaport, I don't even remember his character's name because he just is blinding. Gary said that he had guardianship of them while they were on the road. Mm-hmm. So their parents had signed guardianship over to him while they were on the road.
They just signed the damn contract.
They just signed everything. They said they didn't even know that they weren't on the label. You know what I mean? They knew nothing. They did not read those contracts at all.
They got $500 in a Betamax. That's pretty much what they got.
Betamax, girl.
Joy, that is your Twitter name, and it killed me.
I love it.
Now my Twitter name is Nehu with all the O's, but Betamax.
Yeah. And Maurice Starr, you had mentioned, Joy, earlier about, black groups being screwed over, but Maurice Starr screwed over New Kids on the Block, too. So...
Yeah. I was talking to my friends about, remember Pearlman, who screwed over
NSYNC? Yep.
That is commonality for young child stars, to Kayla's point. But something about, and maybe it's because I'm black, so I'm in my feelings, but something about black kids being taken advantage of really irks my spirit so much.
Yeah.
Especially because these are people, like the average American doesn't know legal jargon. Let's be real. They don't know how to read a contract from top to bottom. They don't know the legalese that is in which it's written in to understand what they're fully signing off. That's the average American today. Now, bring that back towards the 70s or 80s where a lot of the shit that they would do in terms of legal work would be illegal today in 2017, and they got away with a lot of shit because of that. Now, if you do the wrong thing, somebody's going to see you immediately. That was not necessarily the case in the 70s and 80s. So I really felt for the moms because they really were just trying to do something to have their kids.
That's what I did. I felt more empathy for the moms than because everybody was dismissing the moms and saying, well, you should have just read the damn contract. But I'm just like, they just wanted the best for their kids. And they didn't know better.
They were trusting. They were trusting that their talent would be enough and that they would really look out for those kids. And honestly, when it comes to signing contracts, to this very day, if you sit down anywhere and you take the time to read what you're signing, somebody's going to try to overtalk you and encourage you to sign before reading it.
Yep.
Every situation I have ever been with, I have sat down and I will take the time to read every line in every contract. If I don't understand, I ask a question. And if something I want isn't in there, I ask for an addendum. But every single time I sit down and actually begin reading a contract, whoever gave me that contract is trying to talk over me and tell me where to sign. And I have to remind them that I can read.
Or you just don't understand or like Joi said earlier, you just don't understand the legal jargon that's in a contract.
Right.
And you just skim over those parts and then you just sign it and find out later that those parts are what eventually screw you over in the long run. So
most people don't even read the terms and conditions on iTunes. So
exactly the terms and conditions of Facebook. Yeah.
Right. They don't know what they have access to. They don't know who has rights to their data on Twitter. They don't know and much of that stuff is stuff that is in very extensive legalese, and you have to really read through it to know what they're doing. A lot of times when you update applications, I'll take the time to read through it. And it used to be when Google Play would update apps, they would tell you exactly what it was that each update was. But nowadays it's we added some new features you'll like. But they don't do that anymore. Now it's just, they don't tell you exactly we bug fixed this one line. Now it's just very, very vague, and you have to really search for what's being changed. They'll ask for permissions and things like that, and you have to actually read through that. And a lot of people don't. So to sit here and judge, someone for not reading completely through a contract that, it takes a certain level of, I think, schooling sometimes to understand. I think it's a little harsh.
And that's why they expect you not to read it. And that's why so many people try to overtalk you and tell you where to sign without reading it. We are never expected to read anything. If we're talking expectations, we're never expected to read anything. We're never expected to ask questions. So read and ask questions, because it could change the entire trajectory of what it is you're doing. It could change your decision about what you're doing.
Exactly.
All right. Well, let's move on to our final discussion of the evening, and that is the Oscar race. The Oscars is coming on soon, and we'll do a podcast roundtable discussion about that after the airing of the show. But it's a very exciting time because Oscars, there's a lot of nominees that are Black nominees, and I'm excited about it, but I want to know what your thoughts are. We've got Best Actor nominees, Best Actresses, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actresses, Best Directors, Best Screenwriters, and also Best Films that feature Black actors in them. So what are your thoughts about the nominees this year?
I'll start. First of all, I got to shout out Joy McMillan, because she's the first Black woman to ever be nominated to be an editor on Moonlight, and her name is spelled Joy with an I, like me. And so I am extremely rooting for her, and I gotta find her Twitter account because I want to be like, girl, I'm with you in spirit. You are holding it down for all of the Joys with the I. I'm here. We're here together. We will make it through. We will win this Oscar. So I am rooting for her. But no, I think it's really great. I read a really wonderful article that Tyree Anderson, I think he writes for the Washington Post, did with April Rain, who created the hashtag #OscarsSoWhite. And let me start off by saying, if any of your Mayo-facing publications is talking about that there's no more Oscars Go White, please go fuck yourself. And let me tell you why. Because the way when people say Oscars so white is no more, it's equivalent of saying it's a post-racial society.
Right.
Now,
Exactly.
And now look at where we are right now.
Mm-hmm.
Like today. And look how that panned out. So stop. Don't do that. You have no call in saying this. This is another example of you completely erasing Black women's work and their art and their creativity. April Reign, who is a Black woman, made it. She made it with the intention to be inclusive of everybody who is in a marginalized group. And in that Washington Post article, she talked about how, the Oscars are more Black, but it's not necessarily more diverse, which is true. We have a lot of Black nominees in Dev Patel. And these are great, don't get me wrong, but we have so much of a ways to go in terms of what diverse means. We had a shitty year in 2016 for AAPI actors and actresses. True. Let's call a spade a spade. Like, they had a crappy year with Ghost in the Shell, with AA Iron Fist, with I'm blanking on the other one, Doctor Strange. They had a really bad year in terms of getting whitewashed in their roles. So that's not a good. Yeah, Aloha. Yeah, like these are not good looks. Kubo and that movie, I think there's an issue with them.
Yes, there's a few white actors that it's like,
and then Death Note coming up. Yeah,
and Death Note they did not have a good year in 2016 moving into 2017. They didn't get nominations. You have Indigenous folks that didn't get nominations. You have Latinx folks that didn't get nominations. And Lord knows I love Moonlight. God knows I do. I am looking forward to seeing Moonlight, and I hope they beat the shit out of Casey Affleck in Manchester by the Sea.
Thank you.
And I cannot wait. I want them to absolutely destroy them. But hey, let's talk about it. We haven't had any LGBT directors direct anything that got nominated for films this year either. Call spade a spade. Like, we are making progress, but we have a ways to go. So when you're saying, hey, we're going to cut off and there's no more Oscars so white, first of all, this year's Oscars is going to be the 89th. Just because we have more Black people than ever, you still got 88 years to make up for it. Shut the fuck up. Quite frankly. Don't do it. Like, you have 88 more years before we can start talking about, hey, it's no more, it's even. And even then, until we can start thinking about how do we have that progression where it's more diverse, let's not forget, one of the first few Oscars, Hattie McDaniel, and, Lord knows Monique is an interesting character, but she dressed like Hattie McDaniel when she won her Oscar for Precious. Hattie McDaniel wasn't allowed to even sit during the ceremony with the white folk.
Right.
I'm going to need you to leave my soror alone, but yes. Go ahead. I'm just kidding.
Is that, like, the Oscars has a history of being racist and being sexist and being homophobic. Like, let's be truthful. And it's not that they're being blatantly so, but they have ignored that art. They have people in the audience who is those type of people who are getting nominated. We have people who, let's talk about being in Trump's America, who probably voted for Trump. Like 50% of them niggas probably voted for Trump in there. So, like, let's be honest with ourselves when we're talking about how we have a ways to go before we're cutting everything off. But most importantly, if you are not the creator of Oscars So White, you have no say in whether or not this is over. Just stop.
I'd like to formally request that Joi stop saying the things I was going to say. I'd also like to piggyback on that and agree. I think it comes from this overwhelming, again, my disgust with white liberalism and white moderates, this need to assuage their white guilt. So when there's this overwhelming celebration of Black actors, they want to be celebrated for this instead of allowing us to celebrate. They want to say, oh, well, we did good and now that thing is over. Like they want to say that racism has come to an end because they did good. And it's tiring once again. Like it's that means well whiteness that is damaging, and it's tiring to have to keep correcting because they don't know how to stay in their lane. They don't know how to let Blackness speak for itself and stand on its own, or they don't know how to let people of color speak for themselves. Like, I don't understand why this Oscar So White was co-opted in the first place. Like, I don't understand why they're the ones that are writing articles about it anyway. Like, I don't know. I don't understand. So it is quite obnoxious of them. And I also do agree with Joi that the victory that we all feel in seeing so many Black faces nominated, I'm so excited about all of that. It is very bittersweet not to see more representation of Asian people, Afro-Latino people as well, just Pacific Island, just so many other people, people of color I see a lack of being nominated for these awards, and it's very bittersweet. So for them to say Oscar's not so white anymore, is like, calm down. Sit it on down.
It's funny though, because someone, I was tweeting about that, and someone said, well, Marion Cotillard is French. I'm like, well, here we go. Let's get into this. And I love her. I love Marion Cotillard. But here's the problem. It's that white passing thing that you guys know that I hate so much within the Latin community and, you know, the other fair-skinned ethnicities, and where they get these roles. Like, so apparently I'm not allowed to feel bad that Latins get nominated, but they're like Penelope Cruz white. So I'm like, I can't, I don't, we're not there yet. So at some point, like Tora said, your white hot take on Oscars So White will get you called out, will get you dragged. Black Twitter does not play. That's why Mashable got that girl fired. I don't feel bad when we all, you know, jumped on board with that, because you can't speak for people when you don't know the experience and you're just writing to get something out so that you could get a paycheck. That's what I'm sick of with the whole Oscar So White buzz, is because he's looking to get paid. So I'm just going to take and they're not even being original. They're stealing from another white writer to write these articles and put them out there. And it says the exact same thing. So then they get upset when we get mad and call them out on it, because Oscar So White was meant to be inclusive. So, you know, the day we see Donnie Yen get up there and get an Oscar will be amazing, because he's been in so many things. But we're not there yet. And I swear to God, if I see Casey Affleck get up, Jesus, help me. And if I see Michelle Williams nominated for another mediocre ass role, she was a piss poor Marilyn Monroe.
Same goes to Emma Stone.
And I don't hate Emma, because I feel like
I don't hate her either. I just don't think she's that great of an actor.
I don't think she was great. And that's the thing. Like I said, and I put it out there, I didn't hate La La Land because I like musicals, so it was pretty to me. But it's not the best movie, so that's where I'm getting upset.
I don't understand why it's got 11 nominations. I don't get it.
Well, no, it's 14 nominations.
Oh, 14. Excuse me. Yes. I stand corrected on that.
It's tied with Titanic for the most amount of nominations in one Oscar year.
Right.
And I'm really extremely confused.
I'm very confused. Yeah. Titanic is one of the best films of our generation. I don't get that.
I have to ask you this. Why are you confused? Because, okay, so the folk that are saying Oscar So White or not so white anymore is bullshit. Until we see our faces, our many colors, our many lives reflected in the films that are greenlit, and until we see every shade of brown and green and plaid in the goddamn writer's room, it's going to be the same shit every year. So that's why La La Land got 14 goddamn nominations, because it's the same shit in a different year. Don't be confused. Don't be mistaken. This is the same shit. They throw a couple of black people who are rightfully deserving in their own right for the work that they've done. But every year we've got Black actors and actors of color that rightfully should be there. They just got named this year because they got called out so badly last year and the year before. But let's be clear. This is not new. It's not fantastic. It's not a surprise that La La Land, white people taking claim for inventing fucking jazz of all things in the U.S. They really? Just because John Legend is attached to it doesn't mean that it's changed. It's the same shit, different year. Don't be confused. There's no reason to be confused. It's the same.
I feel like they did try to overcompensate for all of the Black nominees by going, you know what, let's just throw all of the extra nominations to this one super white movie.
You have one in every category, every major category. Now, what about all of these supporting actors throughout the year who rightfully deserve to be there every year? It's still not even. They did overcompensate with that, Jamie. Thank you, because that's the word that escaped me. They have overcompensated They have overcompensated in the public image. They've changed. They tried to change the public image of the Oscars, but the Oscars themselves have not.
It's like their way of saying, "Don't get it twisted now. Don't get it twisted."
Also, you people forget, like, you think about how Viola Davis's team had to make the call between best, like, supporting versus best actress, and they chose best supporting because it's a greater chance of her getting it.
Yeah.
Like, Viola Davis's snot bubble deserves all the Oscars.
Her snot,
you know what?
We talked about this on the last episode. Yeah, the
snot that she wipes her makeup off.
Listen, I tell you, Viola convinced to the tears. When I saw her crying in that trailer, I was like, oh, but just give her, just engrave her Oscar for me, please. And a lot of people are like congratulating her, and I don't want to be that Debbie Downer. And a lot of people are congratulating Viola Davis for being the first Black actress to be nominated for 3 Oscars, and that's amazing. But she's won 0.
Yeah.
Well, she's gonna win one. She's gonna win it.
And I think everybody's calling it for her to win. I'm not holding my breath because I just need to see it for myself.
Yeah.
But she deserved it for Doubt, and she deserved it for The Help too.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I the fact that when your team has to make that call because you really could do it for either or, she could have done Best Actress and would have equally deserved it. And she is Denzel's equal in the film. He's nominated for Best Actor, so the other co-star
is he nominated for Best Director?
No.
No, he's not. That's what I'm saying.
Well, let's hope that Barry Jenkins takes that for Moonlight.
Yeah.
Well, and even look at the best foreign, not best foreign films, best documentaries. 13th, I Am Not Your Negro, and OJ Made in America are all Black people.
Yep,
that's big.
Yeah,
deal.
that's true.
Yep,
that's a big deal. And I want Ava to take it, but man, OJ Made in America is a really good documentary.
That's a good one too. Yeah,
they are really heavy hitters. So like we're having great representation. All I'm saying is that April designed Oscars So White to be representative of every marginalized group and every form that takes. Right. So as we're pushing the agenda, we had a good year for Black film. Let's try to aim for have a good year in Asian film in 2017. A good year in trans films for agents.
This year we were Kelly Mantle, who was on RuPaul's Drag Race, was like the first person that could, because he plays a trans man in a movie. This is the first year that he could qualify for either Best Supporting Actress or Best Male Actor, which is freaking amazing, but it didn't happen. So I don't know how far it's going to take for us to get. I mean, we got somewhere with RuPaul getting his Emmy. That was a step in the right direction, but when it comes to LGBT, something's got to give. That's what gets me. Something's got to give, because so many there's a documentary about the Puerto Rican drag scene, Mala Mala, which is great. If you have Netflix, watch it, because it's amazing. And that didn't get nominated either. And it's just crazy to me, because it's beautifully shot, beautifully directed, and those things are ignored. You have to go out and look for them. The year that The Blue Is the Warmest Color was nominated which was really shocking because it's got a 15-minute sex scene. But it's every other 3 or 4 years that those things are like acknowledged for LGBT. So at some point we've got to push it to where this is an every year thing for everybody. So that's exactly it.
And maybe it's on us to like figure out a way how we can contribute. So like Moonlight is a very interesting case because it was indie funded. It wasn't coming from a specific house per se. I mean, A24 and like Plan B, but a part of their funding was indie funded. So maybe it's hey, what platforms can we individually do to make sure that those other marginalized stories are being told? How do we make a Kickstarter, Indiegogo for them to get funded to make their films? Like, what do we got to do to make sure those voices are amplified? Because that's something that I'm interested in. We need art and film more than ever, especially in this political climate, because those are the people who will be able to push our story and our narratives forward, because we're not going to be able to get it from like traditional news sites anymore. So how do we make sure that their voices are getting amplified?
And kudos to A24 for the content that they choose to push forward. With Moonlight, even when they did the Amy Winehouse documentary, that won for, I believe, music last year. But they push forward things that people don't necessarily want to put out there. So they take on those projects. And so them taking on Moonlight, they are doing well in that. They are a very good step in that direction, but we need more of those studios like that.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, I know Ava DuVernay has her organization with Array, which helps the distribution part of films. So that's a great organization to tap into, and I follow them on Twitter, and they do every now and then, I don't know if they do it anymore, but we had live tweeted like a short film with the Array Now account. So that's something to check out. ArrayNow.com is the website. But I agree with you, Joy. I mean, there's ways to be able to support African American women in cinema. Is another organization where I'm actually trying to partner up with them and try to promote more of their content and have BGN as a partner with them. Tara is the organizer. Her last name escapes me right now, but African American Women in Cinema has been around for a while. When I used to be a blogger talking about the film industry when I lived in New York, I remember doing a lot of movie reviews and seeing their name pop up here and there. So it's definitely something that, takes effort because you have to seek these independent content creators and support them. But yeah, it's something that's very important to do. I think that a lot of people are hungry for it because what Brad Pitt has done with Plan B is awesome. And I mean, he's supporting these independent content creators. So that's great to see. I'm really happy to just see some black folks get nominated. I'm just going to keep it 100. I mean, I'm just really excited for this season of beautiful black people getting nominated, getting their due, seeing Denzel and Viola Davis, seeing Octavia Spencer getting her nomination for Hidden Figures, seeing Hidden Figures getting a Best Picture nomination. I mean, a movie about 3 black women, mathematicians. They're not playing slaves. They're not playing maids. Yeah.
They're not
it's not The Help. Yeah, finally we're seeing movies that are not characters where we're tropes, where we're not these stereotypes, and we're actually getting recognition for it and getting these accolades. So I'm excited for that, and I really hope to see us sweep away a lot of these wins for these nominations, and it not just be a situation where it was like the year that Color Purple was nominated, where it got like all of these nominations and no wins.
Not one win.
Listen, there's 2 people that need to, well, not 2 people, one person that needs to win for me. Listen, Mahershala Ali got robbed at the Golden Globes. I don't care what nobody says. And that man got nominated I will take Dev Patel as a fine alternative, but if he does not win that Best Supporting Actor, I'm kicking everybody. Also, Taraji got robbed. She definitely should have got nominated for Best Actress too.
I agree. That monologue scene with her in the bathroom. I mean, just that scene alone. She should have got nominated. And I'll be upset if Denzel doesn't win because I don't want Casey Affleck to win that damn award. Jamie,
I want to kick Casey Affleck in the teeth.
Me too. Like, I want
him to meet me out back.
Yeah.
Outside. How about that?
You know, and it just goes to show the racial bias that Hollywood, depicts when it comes to actors of color compared to white actors. Because we see the treatment that Nate Parker got with Birth of a Nation and his sexual deviant past. And now Casey Affleck, I mean, it's like everybody's turning the other cheek and acting like nothing happened. And kudos to Constance Wu, who is speaking up and speaking out and is like the only person in Hollywood that is talking about this. Meanwhile, everybody else in Hollywood is acting like, oh, okay, well, it's not a big deal. But she's actually saying something about it. But yeah, like, I don't understand why... I understand why. I don't know why I keep saying that, but it's frustrating.
Also, unfortunately, is the whiteness, and also it's who you know within that whiteness.
Yeah, because he's Hollywood royalty, right? I mean, he's an Affleck.
Yeah, he's Ben Affleck, and his best buddy is Ben Affleck's best buddy's Matt Damon. These are like white male royalty.
We don't know him. Who is Matt Damon? Who the hell is that?
Exactly.
What's a Matt Damon?
I've never experienced that emotion. I don't know.
But he pretty much won all of those awards for Manchester by the Sea for his role. I think it's going to be a clean sweep, and I'm going to be pissed about it. Because Denzel
killed. I have to say, that is the best performance of Denzel's career in Fences.
Oh my God. It was incredible.
The best performance of his career.
Incredible.
Hands down. Good. So... yeah.
Can I say something that I forgot? And this is not related to the Oscars, but I made a note, and I just want to say it is really great to see Lisa Nicole Carson back to work. I have missed her so much, and she played one of the mothers in New Edition Story. Mm-hmm. She is one of our great treasures, and she's been gone for a long time, and has been vocal about her struggle with mental illness.
Right.
And I am so happy to see her in all her glory. So Lisa Nicole Carson, girl, welcome back.
I loved her since Ally McBeal and ER. Yes. She's awesome. Yeah, it was good to see her too. It was good to see a lot of the folks that were on that.
Mm-hmm. It really was.
A lot of acting stuff.
Yeah.
I really believe that because of the state of affairs, the state of the union, this is going to be one of the most incredible periods for Black creativity that we've seen in our lifetime.
Yep.
I agree.
I really believe that this is going to be a new renaissance. We are in the midst of a new renaissance, and we're going to see the kinds of creativity and expression that we've never had access to before, because we didn't have access to as much media and as much in time visuals as we do now. But I really believe this is a God-breathed moment for the arts all over, but people of color, when faced with oppression and faced with the most difficult of times, we create the most incredible art on a daily basis anyway. But now there's more reason than ever to find purpose and your voice through the work of your hands and your voices. So I'm really encouraged by that. Everything else I don't care about.
Years from now, they'll take the art created during this time and put it on skirts, and then write protest poems and call themselves no political geniuses. On the Breakfast Club.
Oh, goodness. Oh, my God.
I see what you say. Because that girl
That girl makes me want to shake.
Let's not go there.
I'm not. I was just talking about the great art from this period.
I wanted to add something too, and just sort of tying into what you said, Caron, of just a lot of the things that we're doing and the art that we're creating, and also with respect to the recognition that's happening with all of the platforms that are building, and Black Girl Nerds specifically. So this podcast obviously has been recognized by having really great people from celebrities like Idris Elba, and you talking to people like Ava DuVernay, who's an Oscar nominee, and even the fact that I had tweeted out the following: "Wow, 3 Black women are nominated in the Best Supporting Actress category," tweeted at Black Girl Nerds. And that was actually printed in USA Today. So I just want to say, I think this is really cool that tweets from Black Girl Nerds is being printed in publications, and that people are actually paying attention to what we're saying. You know, people are actually scrutinizing and reading our words. Our words have clout. Our words have meaning and value to go into publications that have circulation all over the world. So I just wanted to throw that out there. And thank you to everybody that's been supporting this show throughout the years. And we'll continue to give you the best content. And just thank you. Thank you so much. So just wanted to say that.
If USA Today wants to print something out in regards to podcasting, just ignore my part, because I definitely said, fuck you, white lady. You might not want to print that.
Yes, please don't print the parts where I said mayo.
Print all my parts.
I
print all my parts, all my fuck yous, and kiss my asses. Print them all.
Mayo. Please don't print the part where I said old spiled mayo. Please don't.
I'm always surprised people actually pay attention to what I'm tweeting. I'm always shocked. Like, why do you care? I say the most random
Jamie,
stuff.
But you made a great point about us being influential as the mantle of Black Girl Nerds. I know I joke around and say we are the mighty regime, but like honestly, we do have a lot of clout, and I think it's important when we're talking about film, and especially the art and the creativity that Caron was talking about for 2017. That we always do this, but making sure that we can do the best as we humanly possibly can to amplify those voices, not only specifically like Black girls, but even more deep diving into the intersectionalism of Black girls. And I was talking to Tora about this. So queer Black women, disabled Black women, Afro-Latinas, like making sure that we're getting really down to the nitty-gritty and making sure that every Black woman's voice is heard, no matter what viewpoint or look that is super important, and it's a challenge to all of us. Like, I'm throwing the gauntlet down, but I definitely think we can do it for 2017 and beyond.
Thank you for always, Joy, by the way, thank you for always bringing it back to intersectionality, because that is something that I feel like, me personally, I need to get better at, and that's what I'm doing now with Universal Fan Con, and that's what I'm doing in a couple of months with going to Klexicon, which Kayla's joining me in that. Klexicon. Klexicon is it's the first year con for them for LGBTQ women and allies. So join us if you guys are going there. That's March 3rd through the 5th in Las Vegas. Check it out. But thank you for bringing that back to intersectionality among Black women, because that is something that I think is very important that we need to touch on. Queer Black women, disabled Black women, Afro-Latino Black women. It's important to focus on all areas of our community. And that is something that is a huge focus for me in 2017. And Universal Fan Con is a huge part of that as well.
It's so awesome, guys. You have no idea. There's a lot of work, and Jamie, you guys are just putting in a lot of work to make it happen, and it's going to be great. I'm so excited.
I'm really excited too. And also just wanted to point out how much representation is just here within us too. So like we've got Kayla, So we do have queer, disabled, Afro-Latinas just within this small group,
right?
That's talking right now. So we're intersectional right now. So I love seeing the intersectionality within Black Girl Nerds all of the time. So thank you for creating that space where we can, be ourselves.
Yes,
Jamie, I appreciate that.
Yay.
I don't think I've ever felt more like myself since I've met you guys. Seriously, I think I've become a better version of myself, and I thank you, Jamie, for creating this space so that we can grow, because that's what's actually happening. Whether or not that was your intent, we're growing, and we're growing together, and I think it's remarkable. So much love to you, Black Girl Nerds. Thank you for loving me, the pimp.
Right? Somebody sing "Let the Circle Be Unbroken."
Well, tell me that more before, bro. That all right.
All right. Well, any last words before we wrap this episode up?
Fuck Donald Trump.
Woo-woo.
Fuck Donald Trump. That sounds good to me.
Fuck Donald Trump.
Joy, she said it.
I did.
Yes,
Ways
I
to
love it.
Sunday.
I love it.
Fuck Donald Trump.
Did y'all
And
not hear
also-
my heart flutter when I heard it? It was great.
Fuck Donald Trump, and also as you're getting through these dark and Trump times, woo woo woo.
Woo woo woo.
Whoa,
Woo, woo,
whoa.
woo.
Remember to, always use alternative facts.
Oh, God.
That's my best advice that I could give to you. Alternative fact. So I use that hashtag after everything. If I get an email say, Kayla, did you get that proposal done? I did. Hashtag alternative facts. So just use it in your everyday life. It works for, the Trump administration. So why the hell not should it work for us?
No, I would like to plug, talking about facts and the lack thereof. AJ Plus is doing a really good job on good summarizing content of what's going on in terms of the Trump administration. They have something called the Trump Tracker that you can subscribe to, which gives you kind of a summary of what's going on. If you're not checking that out, it's really great because it sounds crazy, but if you guys are on social media like how we're on social media, every 2 hours some shit is happening.
Right.
So it's good to have a nice little roll-up summary of how the world is slowly but surely crumbling in its wake. So Trump Tracker for AJ Plus, check it out. But yeah, no, there's a good chance that we're gonna die, but we're gonna try to see how it's gonna work.
Do y'all dread logging onto Twitter to see?
Yes.
Is it just me?
I wake up every day just shocked that Donald Trump is president. I'm just like, is it really?
You know what? It is.
real?
It is a fact that he is the greatest threat to the security of this nation. But I'm gonna ride this bitch till the wheels fall off. They gonna have to look. If we gonna go down, I'm gonna go down enjoying myself.
That's a good way
We
to
must die.
All I'm gonna say is you guys watched that episode of Scandal. That's all I got to say.
I haven't seen it yet, so don't talk about it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything, but for y'all,
I can repeat
think
the words.
that
I can
Shonda
repeat
could-
the words of Nikki Giovanni. Was it Nikki
Nikki.
Giovanni? Who stated, "The best thing that could happen to this country would be for," did she say a plane to go down with Trump and Pence on it?
goodbye.
Was that, no, seriously, no, for real.
But
And they asked her to rephrase it, and she refused.
Wait. First of all, I feel bad because I did not know Nikki Giovanni was still with us on this earth. I didn't know.
Okay.
I did not know.
That's a wrap, y'all. The Black Girl Nerds podcast is produced by Jamie Broadnax. Various episodes are edited by Jamie Broadnax, M.R. Daniel, and John Bauer. The opening theme song to our show is written and performed by Samus. Various instrumentals are performed by Samus, Sky Blue, and Shubzilla. You can find episodes of the Black Girl Nerds podcast on iTunes, SoundCloud, Google Play Music, Stitcher, Spreaker, and Spotify.
That was a HeadGum podcast.